Welcome to the tavern, weary traveller. Today's tale is one shrouded in great mystery. Who are the town of the Jukers? How did they come together? And how did this unlikely band of complete strangers end up with one of the largest and most impressive land deeds within the 5 kingdoms of Mirandus? Brave adventurer, grab a seat by the fire. Today's tale is the history of the town of the Jukers. Chapter 1: The Funding. Today's fabled tale starts way back in the prehistoric Gala Games period before the pump. What is the pump? This, my friends, is the pump. Ah, yes. In case you weren't aware, at one point in time, the Gala token wasn't always the top 100 Goliath that it is today. In the Gala Games early days, it was possible to pick up 100 or even 1,000 Gala tokens for a single $1. Makes you wish you had a time machine, right? The Gala gamers used to throw around tens, if not hundreds of thousands of Gala tokens, like it was nothing special. Regrettably, like most, I too was one of those people who threw out hundreds of thousands of Gala tokens for some quick cash. I mean, nobody really knew where, when, or even if Gala Games would take off. Even the most verdant enthusiasts in the Gala Games ecosystem were forecasting between a 3 to 10 cent Gala token by the end of the year 2021. However, there was one quiet group of individuals working on a completely different project and timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you all the Jukers. But before we get into these guys and who they are, what they did, first we must go back to their beginning. Lucas, I've been up all night thinking about this one, and 100 grand for land in a game that might not even come out? That's too risky. But what about a yo-yo venture? Like get a group of guys and investigate. Wait, I got it. How about we get a group of guys to invest together? Helen, idea, boss. You know what? Start spreading the word, Lucas. Well, maybe not that far back. The 5th of March 2021, the first day that the original 12 founders sent their funds to a newly created communal wallet. Rewinding a little further though, back to early February, GalaCon 2021. This is where, for many, it started, including myself. GalaCon was held virtually in the Gamerjibe space. The event was a huge success, and for many early Gala gamers, their first chance to meet and greet the devs and their fellow cohorts. Personally, I even sat down and spoke at length with many of the greats like Old Man Smithers, Gemini, yep, that Gemini, and even had a good laugh with the Euclid and Oaks, which led to this fun little interaction.
UIT by Michael Jackson stands for Pretty Young Thing.
That's right.
Seems like the kind of thing he would be interested in.
Yes, good call. Yes, he was into Pretty Young Things. That's right. In fact.
Whilst waiting for the main stage to open, Booths from select Gala Games partners kept attendees entertained. One such partner, GYB, had a virtual booth, and what were they offering?
Oh, this GYB booth is pretty cool.
Wait, Gala,
It
where's
allows you to own a percentage of a Town of the Duke.
There you are.
Oh, where's that at, Becca?
Across the room.
Wow! The Town of the Duke! This was one of the biggest and most badass pieces of land in all of Mirandus, and it was super rare. Only 10 would ever exist. Now, Gala Games was still pretty fresh. At around the time of GalaCon, pretty much all buildings and land were still available in the official Gala Games store. Buildings could be picked up for around $100 to $150, and for land, the only thing holding you back was how much were you willing to spend? Things that were sold out like homesteads, farms, and other small lands could easily be picked up on the second-hand market for about $500. But unlike everything else, even back then, the Town of the Duke was way out of reach. You see, Gala Games pegged land deeds to the dollar, and as the deed increased linearly in size and rarity, Gala Games would up their price exponentially. Consequently, the Town of the Duke, one of the largest deeds, would set any budding investor back an eye-watering $110,000. At this point, it was really only the largest mega whales who could even afford such an expensive piece of land. For us baby new players with only a few $100 in our pocket, the idea of owning such a thing was beyond our wildest dreams. I mean, it's not like you could just buy and own a part of the epic castle. That wasn't even possible. Or was it? Imagine owning a piece of land that was as big and as rare as those owned by the super rich, old school Ethereum whales of the game, but at a price that anyone could afford. That was the appeal. A chance for the common man to own a part of something bigger and better than what he would have otherwise managed by himself. The booth directed people to an information sheet. This sheet answered a series of questions such as, what is the idea? What is Gala Games? What is a Mirandus deed? Why a Town of the Duke? And how the whole process will work, such as how much is required from each individual? How will the funds be handled? And when will these be funds sent over? Those interested in proceeding to the next stage were asked to fill out a form indicating their Discord username, their GYB email, and if they were willing to commit the minimum deposit of $2,000 paid in Gala tokens by the 5th of March. The bar was set pretty high, and it was made clear that committing any less would simply be too much of an undertaking. Alas, the bar would not move, and GalaCon soon passed. A few weeks later, those who had filled out GYB's forum at GalaCon, as well as the pre-existing GYB members who were also interested in the project, were all contacted. Everyone was told that the $2,000 was to be paid in Gala tokens, and each of these tokens was locked at a price of 3 cents each, meaning each individual would be required to send 66,666 Gala on the 5th of March, and when that date came, a communal wallet address was shared amongst the excited would-be Town of the Duke owners. The first day went well, with 12 brave Jukers sending their Gala tokens. Not everyone came in at first, but over the first few days, most of the people who wanted in were there and ready. However, there was an issue. Over the next few weeks, new funding and interest in the project had slowed to a halt, and GYB was only about 1/3 of the way towards their goal and still needed some $80,000 to reach their target of $110,000. With so many other crazy things happening at the time, including major new projects taking off every day like Bored Ape Yacht Club, Cyberkongs, layer on top of that a mini winter for the Gala token, and a major overhaul to the GYB model, Lucas was simply too busy with work, and completing the round of funding was becoming increasingly difficult. That is, until one man stepped in with an idea. No, not me. And Nifty. And Nifty at the time was GYB's operations expert, leading the Headhunters programme. A fun way for GYB members to earn cash by suggesting good projects GYB should partner with. Unfortunately, we don't have time in this video to look closer at the Hunters programme, but the TLDR is that there was a team that reviewed all of the leads, and Nifty reached out to one of those team members, one of his research analysts who showed great potential. Yep, that's me. I was told about the Town of the Jukes project's funding predicament and was offered a cool $1,000 if I could complete the rounds of funding. Seeing as I was already invested in the project and wanted to see it succeed, I racked my brains and decided to do what I do best. Making YouTube videos. I had the idea to make an MTV Cribs style video, which was cleverly called Mirandus Cribs. Using a 1-to-1 scale replica of the Town of the Duke that I would build in Minecraft, I would walk users through the town and encourage any Gala gamers to get in touch if they were interested in owning a part of this giant land deed that we were trying to buy together. The video was an instant success and even got tweeted out by Bitbender on the official Gala Games Twitter, as well as officially announced in the Gala Games Discord announcements. And I was even invited as a special guest on one of the biggest Gala Games streamers podcasts, Euclid and Oaks, Gravy Gang. So this is what going viral feels like. Immediately it was a hit. A tidal wave of interest from old and new players came in all at once. These brave soldiers sent in the last of the required funds. Founding Jukers, Schmedward, Smart Digital Payments and Blue Moon came in buying in a further 8 of the 54 units. And after talking to dozens of new people and explaining how the whole process worked, new Jukers, Daddio, Colonel Rhino, Lehemd, IRA Fudmore, Chris, Martino, Mana Station, DX Para, Puis, and finally, the last man, CryptoView, bought the last remaining 13 units. And with the doors firmly shut, GYB had completed its funding and the Town of the Jukers were locked and loaded. Wow, what a rush! We actually did it! The funding was now in place and GYB had 54 units of 66,666 Gala in the shared wallet, placed ready to buy the Town of the Duke. Chapter 2! The Buying! GYB bought the Town of the Duke. The end. Chapter 3! The Town of the Archduke! Whoa. Back up. Chapter 2! The Buying! Unfortunately, there was a slight issue with the funds. Again. Yep, the original funding goal of 54 units of 66,000 Gala were in place, but the problem was that 54 times 66,000 Gala didn't quite equal 54 times $2,000 as originally envisaged. In fact, it was off by nearly $30,000. You see, Gala token had a mini bull run in February 2021. From the January lows of $0.002, 0.2 cents, it went all the way up 17x to a new all-time high of 0.03 on the 1st of March. When GYB were asking people to send over Gala tokens on the 5th of March, the pricing of $0.03 per token seemed reasonable. However, As the market matured, there was a pullback from the new all-time high, followed by a prolonged cooling off period. Given this new set of challenges, Ann Nifty and I sat down and came up with a plan. I was going to reach out to Gala Games CMO Jason Brink and convince him to hand over the Town of the Duke in exchange for all of our hard-earned 3.6 million Gala tokens. Unwittingly, I had actually only now embarked on what would end up being my most perilous journey to date. At first, Jason was relatively chatty, but was unable to offer us the Town of the Duke at a discounted price. This would have set a precedent. We were told negotiations are normally only for citadels, and basically the long and short of it was that all other land deeds were basically off the table. With this route stopped up, the Town of the Duke project was basically on hold and at the mercy of the markets. Whenever they recovered, we would step in and buy our town. Simple, right? Of course, nothing is that simple. Nope, another challenge presented itself. For some reason, possibly due to the Town of the Duke hype stirred up by the Mirandus Cribs video, there were a number of people buying the last remaining Town of the Duke NFTs. The quantity of this NFT had dropped from 10 down to 8 and was heading lower and lower each week. An emergency meeting with the Bender of Bits was called once again. Andy and I negotiated as hard and as fast as we could, using all the tricks of the trade, but Jason remained firm, and that no discounts would be available. Aww. But, in a rare and frankly unwarranted moment of great kindness, Jason agreed to something that would forever be etched into the annals of Juker history. He agreed to pull one of the remaining Town of the Duke NFTs off the store and set it aside for us. No longer would the Jukers have to worry about supply running out. The only thing we would have to do is wait for the markets to recover and then simply pay the full price to Jason directly. The game was no longer a matter of if, it was now a matter of when. The wait was pretty pleasant, and for a brief period, things in the GYB Discord were quiet and content. The Town of the Duke project had its funding, and essentially had its town. Yeah, it was in an escrow wallet, but it was safe, waiting for the markets to recover. During this time, the individuals who funded the projects, the Jukers, got to know each other a bit better and discussed many great things like, what will we do with our town when we get it? How can we make this project like a DAO? We also created art, created a token, a building, a 3D model of the Town of the Duke in Blender, and much more. Before long, the markets were picking back up, and soon we're very close to the mark, even crossing over it and under a few times. At this time, the remaining Town of the Duke NFTs in the store sold out, but we had our one sitting safe with Jason, so everything would be alright. Trying to get a hold of Jason during this time was beyond difficult. I did manage to squeeze in a few short meetings with the man over the next month. However, getting him to send over the Town of the Duke NFT was impossible. Every day I would get on my PC and quickly look through all the DMs looking for that one distinct bearded character. But alas, nothing. For a long month, Jason swiftly and eloquently dismissed my requests with the same very short reiterated message. Time and time again. Let me get that for you. At first we thought maybe it was because the token price went back below 3 cents again? Or maybe it was because we haven't sent the Gala tokens over to the Gala controlled wallet yet. But actually, it was neither. Jason told us that the Town of the Duke NFT was locked behind a Gala Games multi-sig wallet that required 4 signatories to be present in order to send over the Town of the Duke NFTs. And I was also made aware Those four peoples essentially lived at the four corners of the earth, and all in different time zones. As our waiting prolonged, the Gala token was announced to be coming to Coinbase. Coinbase, the largest, most used cryptocurrency exchange site in the world. The price soared. We were now sitting at 4 cents, 4.5, 5 cents even, and almost thinking we could buy the next town up, the town of the Prince. The Jukers had essentially made 50 grand overnight, and we were in a tough spot. A good one, but a tough one. We thought about it, and it was close, but we decided we would take the town of the Duke if Jason can get it to us. And we'll keep the extra Gala tokens over the original price. In an unthinkable turn of events, I received a message from Jason. Jason was highlighting the fact that we could technically afford the town of the Prince, and suggested that it might be better if we buy that instead of the town of the Duke that he was holding in escrow for us. Despite this seemingly kind gesture, we were already aware of how much money we had, and moreover, we'd already voted on this exact idea. I replied. But sadly, I would not receive a response. And only a few days later, the craziest market move yet happened. The Gala token soared, 4, 5, 6 cents all gone. Gala was now sitting at the dizzying double digits. Almost as if overnight, the Jukers went from a group of guys with $84,000 to an impressive $250,000. Not only could we afford the town of the Prince, but the Jukers were losing their collective minds. A poll was created on whether or not we should buy the princely town, and the vote concluded with a resounding yes. The Jukers were to upgrade from the town of the Duke to the town of the Prince. In the following hours, as the money was being moved from the communal wallet from GYB to the Gala Games account to buy the town of the Prince, the Gala token went on one final Hail Mary. And not only could we afford the town of the Prince, but we now sat on a balance of just over $400,000 and could nearly afford 2 of them. And even better, we could even, if we choose to, we could even buy the biggest and rarest landed in the game outside of a citadel, the town of the Archduke. The town of the Archduke was gargantuan, a whopping 64% bigger than the town of the Duke. The only drawback was that it was 3 times the price of the town of the Duke at $330,000. As the Jukers frantically scurried around with literal heaps of cash raining down on them from every angle, the idea to form a poll with only 48 hours to vote was decided upon and opened. However, only a few short hours would pass, and the Gala price was cooling off fast. Gala price came down from 12 cents to just under 11, and this was no time to panic. The Jukers had been waiting 6 months for their time to shine, and we were not about to let it slip. Almost out of nowhere, Lucas made a heroic entrance, cashed out the Jukers' shared wallet, and went straight into the Gala Games store. And then the town of the Archduke! Only one of 5. The largest non-citadel land deed in the game was bought. A thank you message was sent to Jason for all his help, and in his signature style, swiftly and eloquently replied with a very short message. Chapter 3! The Rise and Rise! So, here we are a few days later, still squealing with excitement, with their fortune. This group of guys, with only $2,000 to each of their names, all chipped in together and weathered out 6 months of grueling markets and negotiations, and at the end of it all, they got way more than they expected. For our money, we expected 1/54th equity in the town of the Duke, and that's now 1/54th in the town of the Archduke. Indeed, 100% more rare and 64% larger, with presumably much better in-game walls, buffs, heraldry, and other important features. This unlikely band of common men had become legendary overnight, making one of the biggest and best Mirandus plays to date. And the best part is, it doesn't end here. The town of the Archduke was $330,000, which was just under 3 million Gala tokens. But the Jukers' original round of funding was escrowing 3,599,965 Gala tokens. That was the 54 units of 66,000 Gala, if you remember. This meant that the Jukers had a spare $60,000 or so cash to spend at any time. The only question was on what? The decision was between another few plots of land, buildings for the town that we needed, Gala nodes, or a mix of all three, or distributing the leftover Gala back to the Jukers, giving them a cool $1,400 back each from their 2,000. The decision was one that needed a great deal of attention, because now that we had our town, we wanted to open up the possibility of running it ourselves instead of just renting the thing out. The only problem was, once we spend all our funds, what will we do? Crowdfund the buildings in a similar manner to how we got the town in the first place? Let the Jukers use their personal buildings for the land? Because originally we weren't even meant to have any extra money, never mind a whopping $60,000 to spend. But that's when we realised that we had just won the jackpot. We had the town of the Archduke, and in this moment we would make one of the craziest and best plays again. Winning back to back, the Jukers threw it all into Gala Games nodes. Oh yeah, those ones. Only back in September they were not $96,000, but rather only $14,000. This meant that the town of the Jukers could afford 3 nodes, and that is how many they were. The logic was solid. The Jukers would now passively earn a monthly income indefinitely, so long as the Gala ecosystem was alive and well, that they could allocate to buying a whole range of things to fill out the town and beyond. Yeah, at first throwing all the remaining Gala into nodes would immediately deplete our pooled funds and stop us from buying anything else, but unlike buying buildings, over the longer time frame, all the Gala spent on those nodes would theoretically come back into our hands. Maybe it would take 3 months, maybe a year, but inevitably all those buildings we wanted for our town should be payable with the node earnings, and this play allows us to start earning a little before the full launch of Mirandus. The plan was foolproof, and nothing short of Gala Games pulling the plug was going to stop us. Well, fast forward 3 months to the end of the year 2021, and I think we can say we made another great decision back to back. As if our luck couldn't get any better, the nodes had now paid just over 16% of the Gala we spent on them back. That's giving us 91,000 Gala tokens back from that original 558,000 that we spent on them in the first place. Using these tokens, we picked up quite the selection of fine wares for our little town. We are now the proud owners of a Grand Tavern, a dock, a Picard ship, a Vox box that was opened and contained a conveyor dwarf, and a whole bunch of other little things like a Gala Gold membership and a Galaverse Live Pass that got us a little NFT. And if you thought the year 2021 wasn't kind enough to the Jukers, we even got this nice little node drop as a cherry on top. Thanks, Gala Games. Hey, if you thought the Jukers just sold perfect tops and bought perfect bottoms, you'd only be half right. At this time, the Jukers encountered another powerful Mirandus collective known as Crown Capital. Headed by a gentleman by the name of Dylan Shube, Crown Capital was ahead of the game. Back in November, they were building their Mirandus DAO from the ground up with an impressive selection of land, exemplars and buildings. Crown Capital's business with the Jukers was simple: join or die. Okay, not really, but they offered the Jukers the ability to fully decentralise our project through their DAO. The way it would work is that each of the Jukers, relative to their stake in the town, would each be given an equitable number of Crown Capital DAO tokens. The upside for both parties was that a larger area of land could be created. It may be possible, by combining together our collective deeds, to form something potentially bigger and better than a citadel. To explain, in Mirandus, just like every other MMO, only the biggest and best place is the place that everyone will be. The place with the most shops, the most players, the most things to do, that kind of thing. Knowing this, the first thing that comes to your mind would be a citadel, right? The largest single landed in the game. Well, consider this. Citadels are indeed the largest single landed in the game. However, they won't be beside each other, nor will they be movable or placeable on the map. They'll be built into the terrain. By placing several smaller landeds directly beside each other, it is possible to create super cities or mega cities. And this will be a thing. These mega cities, comprising of 4 or more large landeds, will likely contain everything necessary to keep the Mirandus adventurer fed, watered and entertained indefinitely. And as soon as a new player gets a map, the first place they'll be looking for is one of these mega cities. Other than this, mega city potential wasn't the only offer on the table. A number of other benefits ranging from legal to governance were discussed, and it is with all this that the Jukers were at a crossroads. Do we merge into one giant collective and achieve the DAO status that so many of us wanted and discussed numerous times since we began our little journey? Or should we forge our own path? A vote was held. It was decided that the Jukers would not join Crown Capital and would instead brave the wilds as a small group of private friends, just taking Mirandus on one step at a time, and ultimately, for better or worse, doing what made sense to them at the time. Although the Jukers voted no, something more powerful and important was unearthed during this encounter. An ally, a friend in need. Even if Crown Capital and the Jukers are separate entities on the blockchain, in our hearts and in our minds, we know who our friends are and who our enemies are. And when Mirandus is live, it is Crown that will have our back and us theirs. Chapter 4! The Jukers today! And this brings us to today, where the Jukers now have regular meetings in their pre-Mirandus tavern and discuss the business of the day on a monthly basis. So far, the year has been largely quiet, with Gala cooling off since the Q4 insanity we saw last year. General market action to the downside and sentiment also appears to be dipping, with further continuation likely on the horizon due to that ever so inconvenient IRL version of Mirandus, where it appears that the devs are installing malware instead of patches, if you catch my drift. But alas, as we step closer and closer to the launch of Mirandus, the Jukers continue to grow in power. To add to our portfolio this year, we have since picked up a dwarf conveyor exemplar to pair with our neat little dwarf fox we got last year. And one of the most recent items that we've added to our inventory, is the very rare and very low supply and highly hyped Cemetery. The Cemetery will allow the Jukers to revive players and set the town of the Archduke up as one of the spawn points, the few available ones within the 5 kingdoms, for a fee, of course. It is with great pleasure that I can now officially announce that this is the town of the Jukers' first ever anniversary. Hey! Happy anniversary, everyone! Where we go from here is hard to say, but I can tell you one thing. It will be together as friends. Hey guys, thank you very much for watching, and special thanks if you stayed all the way to the very end. To my brothers out there in the town of the Duke, my fellow Jukers, I'm doing a very special exclusive giveaway just for us guys. I'm going to be giving away one Mirandus exemplar 1 week from the date of publishing this video. And if you want to get involved, all you have to do is leave a comment below or let me know in the Discord. For any of you crown capitalists or other beautiful people out there, even you spies, I'm looking at you Gravy Gang Guild. If you guys want to enter this giveaway, or if you want to be a part of the Town of the Duke, if you want to be a Juker, then obviously all spaces in the Town of the Duke are sold and you'll have to buy someone else's seat off them. That is possible though guys, there is links in the description, and potentially, I don't actually know right now if anyone is selling their seat, but you might want to come into the Discord anyway and you might want to get involved, because we're discussing ideas right now about making the Town of the Juker NFT Loyalist badge. This is a special badge that will allow you the first look at any of the things that we are doing in Mirandus at the time. You guys know that we are the Town of the Jukers, we have the Town of the Archduke, we've got our Grand Tavern. If we're pulling an event, you know, if there are a few spare seats, the Loyalists will get the first ask if they want to come in, and then it'll go out to the wider GYB community and potentially anyone else after that point. If we're going out on a raid or a big mission and we're going to kill the Minotaur King, first of all we'll form it as the Town of the Jukers and then we'll go looking into Loyalists. Stuff like that guys, just some fun ideas. But anyway, I'll just leave you with that thought for now. Guys, there's going to be a giveaway. We're going to be giving away a Mirandus exemplar. Special thanks to all the Town of the Jukers and happy anniversary. Goodbye.